Hi, I'm Leslie Canarium, Reader Conversations Librarian at the Rogers Public Library, and our first project for the new year is going to be little Lotus lamps. Your kit comes with an empty, dry, hopefully, water bottle. This is a nice recycling project, and one of these cute little LED lights. Do not use an actual flame tea light for this project. You will set things on fire. Also, we've got several sheets of this nice vellum paper. It's very pretty. I don't know if you can see, it's translucent. If you decide you want to make extra versions of this project, it's very easy. You don't have to go out and buy the expensive vellum paper. You can just use regular colored copy type paper. I wouldn't use construction paper because it's a little thick, or tissue paper because it's too thin. Now, for additional materials that you will also need, you will definitely need a ruler and a pencil, scissors, and some sort of glue. I'm going to be using glue sticks and a glue gun just because they will make it easier. You can use craft glue, but you'll have to be patient and hold the pieces in place. You're going to need some sort of cutting things besides the scissors to work on the water bottle. I like to use a craft knife, which is terrible for the knife, but it's very easy for me to work with. You might want to use an X-Acto knife or some sort of craft cutter. That's up to you. If you want to embellish your project a little further, you might want some sort of thing you can use for a handle for your lamp, one of these, or a ribbon. Saw some versions of this project online where they had taken the leaves and petals and drawn designs on them first, so you'll want a colored marker for that. I'm not going to get that elaborate because this is a very pretty project on its own. So let's get started. The first thing you're going to want is your water bottle. You do not need the cap. You're going to cut off the mouth here and then cut it off at the first division. This bit here is going to be the toughest, so this is going to take a little bit of sawing with my craft knife or your X-Acto knife. And then I'm going to go right here at this seam. It's okay if it gets a little squished in the process. You'll straighten it out. Now I'm straightening out the cone here, and we have a nice plastic cone that's going to be the basis of our lamp. If you want to do this project at home and make bigger lamps, you can also use the 2-liter bottles. They are even tougher to cut, and you will need probably more of the paper than we've got in the kit, but it is also a nice variation you can do on this project. I'll set that aside for a moment, and I'm going to take our vellum sheets. You'll have red ones, green ones, and gold. This might come in pink or orange. It depends what you get in your kit. Both work. This one's set aside for a minute because we're going to work with these and we're going to cut out petals. For the red and the yellow, you're going to want to first cut them in half the long way. With your ruler, these are 6 centimeters wide, so each one should be 3 centimeters. So you'll end up with 5 strips, 2 red, 2 gold, and a green one. And then you'll take your ruler and you're just going to go ahead and mark every 3 centimeters. So they're going to be roughly 3 by 3 centimeters. Then we'll go ahead and cut up our squares. And we're going to take them and fold each of them in half. Make a nice crisp fold there. Then, grabbing our pencil, we're going to draw on the half a leaf shape. Make sure that the broad part of the leaf is on the fold. And just to make it a little easier on myself, I'm going to cut several of them at once. Once again, double checking to make sure that the folds are all together. And you can see this makes a bunch of nice petal shapes. I'm going to use one and trace it as a pattern around these others. And that's a good idea, to just use one as a pattern for all your different petals and leaves. They don't have to be identical, but it's, a good idea if they're not too different. And as you can see, we end up with 14 each of the gold and 7 of the green. Now we're going to go back to the base we cut out of the water bottle, and we're going to start with the gold, and I'm going to pull out 7 of those. and we're going to glue them around the top big edge here with the fold facing out. And you can see that I'm just getting the edge of the petal on there. It does go up above the rim. And if you don't have a glue gun, that's okay. Like I said, you can use craft glue, but you will want to hold each petal in place and let it set until it's firm and won't wobble about too much. Now that we've done that with the gold, let's pick out 7 red petals, and we're going to do the same thing again. Next layer down, except we're going to offset things a bit so each petal comes up between the other 2 petals. And we're going to do a 3rd row in gold. As you get down to the narrower base of your piece of water bottle, you will probably find yourself overlapping the petals a bit. That's fine. And finally, a 4th row of the rest of the reds. Once again, overlapping. You're going to come almost, but not quite, to the edge of the bottle. You can see we're starting to get the whole lotus flower look here. Now we're just going to go ahead and take our 7 green leaves and glue them to the bottom the same way to make sort of a base. But there we go. This is the basic lotus flower. But if you know anything about lotuses, they have more petals in the inside. And we're going to use this piece. Remember this one? It'll be either pink or orange. And make a little cone shape to go inside. You've got a pattern here in your kit, and you can see how nicely translucent the vellum paper is, so you don't even have to cut out the shape. You can just trace right over it. Don't worry if your curve is not quite perfect. We'll sort that out as we go. And you're going to want to shape it into a cone that fits right there in the center. So take a look, modify your shape here a bit. Okay, and I think I'm going to want to trim that just a bit right there so I don't have too big of an overlap. And the glue stick works nicely for this. Hold it for just a minute so it doesn't pop open. And you can see that's got a bit of a tilt to it. We don't want quite that much of a tilt. And then we'll take our little LED light and switch it on, and it should fit right nicely in there. And you can put your little cone over the top, and boy, I sure hope that the camera shows you what a nice soft glow this gets. And if you had wanted to give a handle for your lantern, you could glue ribbons on either side or a pipe cleaner so you get something like this. I originally saw them as decorations for Diwali, but they also make lovely decorations for Lunar New Year's festivities, or really any time you want a little bit of a warm glow in a cold winter. And that's all there is to it. So come back next month where we're going to make a different kind of paper flower for Valentine's Day.